Hello. How is everyone doing tonight? Hopefully you're having a great start of your week. I am going to play Craft Roulette tonight. I will recap this and more people pop on. But I have this really cool stamp set right here that I got from the Sassy Club. And I was watching Craft Roulette and they had some criteria on there where your project is joyful, your colors are cartoon, your element starts with I, and random include some scrap or scraps. Ice cream was a suggestion from someone else, but I thought since it had something to do with cartoon and that the Incredibles would be perfect. So that is what I decided to do tonight. Hi, Christina. For those that are popping on, say hi so we know you're here and so we can see your comments. So this is the Craft Roulette for this week. Joyful, cartoon, starts with I, include a scrap or scraps. Excuse me. So we are going to build my Craft Roulette card for this week on the live tonight. I thought, how awesome would that be? Oh my gosh, my desk, I'm telling you, this mat. These little rubber stoppers, I love my glass mat, but these little rubber stoppers, they never stay on under your glass mat. So I need to buy some new ones. Hola! Happy to have you here, Rebecca. So, I've been super busy with a lot at work at my other job. So, I haven't had a lot of time to do a whole lot of anything else, but I am trying to get my Ohuhu markers organized for a live. The problem is that the Ohuhu markers come in this big case and they're all just kind of thrown in there. And even though they're in color family, they're very hard to locate the right number that you need. And so for a live, it would take me way too long to try to find the marker that I want to use. So I found a solution to it and I'm waiting for it to arrive. It should arrive next week. And then we're going to do some coloring with Ohuhu markers on our live. But I need them to be organized because I can't do it without it. So what I thought for tonight was I had to pick one of these incredible people to do. So I decided the closest, I could have done mom, but I decided to do dad. And I'm actually going to do a Father's Day type card tonight, or maybe even like a father birthday. So we're going to do Mr. Incredible. How incredible is that? So the sentiments are mom, you're incredible, or dad, you're incredible, or your family is super, or our family, your family is super, to a super duo. So I thought the easiest one would be to use dad, you're incredible. I also want to use this little mask and this little eye for some background techniques. So I'm going to play around with that. In the Craft Roulette, your random is to use some scrap paper. So I pulled out a bunch of the scraps that I had in my drawer. And there happened to be some that are from our paper pad, the Comic Universe paper pad. So I thought that was perfect. But I had to find a scrap that had red in it. So I found a couple of these little scraps that I had saved from a project I did before. So those will be my scraps. And then for those of you that don't know what a joy fold is, it's when your card opens it's like when you have a card going normal, and I trimmed mine just for the heck of it, but you don't have to. You can leave it full. And then you need another smaller card piece attached so that it opens. They call this Joyfold on Craft Roulette. So that's the kind of card we're going to make. And then I have some extra like papers and such. This is also a scrap from my scrap pages that we're going to put together after we color our Mr. Incredible. So the element starts with I. That's going to be Incredible. And the colors are cartoon colors. So we're, of course, going to color him like Mr. Incredible. Now, I wasn't really sure exactly all the colors for Mr. Incredible. So I found that I have this little alien in the Incredible outfit. Isn't he cute? So I was going to use that as a reference for coloring my Mr. Incredible. So I'm going to stick with that and try to kind of keep it close to this little guy right here, his outfit. So I'm going to try to match that up. So let's go ahead and get started, and it will be super fun. And then we're going to play around with some of this on some of our backgrounds of the cards. So that's my plan, and I'm sticking to it. Maybe. Hey, Cheryl, how are you? So let's go with skin tone first. Mr. Incredible, he's pretty white, pretty pale. He's not real tan. So I don't want to go too far into the tan colors for him. So I'm going to use the lighter color of, I'm going to use RV95 instead of E04 because it's not quite as dark. And then E13, E11, I think I'll use E51 and E00, and we'll wet the paper with E000. So we'll start off with that, and then we'll go from there. And just so I don't want you to think that I forgot, his hands have gloves on them, so we are only doing his head. I am doing great tonight. So here we go. Let's go ahead and put this color. I've not colored him before, so I'm hoping I don't color something wrong. But we won't know until we try. So here we go with our little Mr. Incredible. I think the kids would be so much fun, but I really just thought I'd start with the biggest one and play around with him. And then maybe later on, I'll work on the other ones. So inside his eyes, we could leave that white, or we could color it as his whole eyes. So I think I'm just going to leave it white and make his eyes black. I don't think we're going to do a real elaborate anything with his eyes. But I just wanted to explain that before I got started, so you know. I think I'm going to grab some of the C1 and I'm going to put it just inside here, so there's just a teeny bit of shadow going on since he does have a mask on. And then I'm going to take my colorless blender and kind of push that color towards the edge of that. It'll look a little funny while it's wet because it'll be darker than what it's going to be when it's done. Not sure you'll be able to see that on camera, but just in case, let's zoom in just a little bit more so you can get a really good view of what we're working on. So for shadow color, I'm going to use RV95. All right, here we go. So he has really light colored hair. I had thought, oh, what fun it'll be to give him black hair, and then I realized he doesn't have black hair, so that kind of blew that out of the water. He does have a bit of a big nose, though, so I want to accentuate that a little bit. Pretty big chin. So we're going to shadow this underneath here and along his neckline. I'm not going to put any there, but I do want to do just a little bit from this underside of his neckline around the side of his face, just a little bit. And then I always like to do like the inside of their mouth, the darkest color of the skin, just because I feel like it meshes best with the skin color if you stick with one of the colors that is part of your makeup of the skin color. So that's kind of my plan and why I do what I do. Just in case you were curiouser and curiouser. Here is E13, and I may throw in a little bit of sneak peek for the release that's coming up this week. This kind of blends into that because some of the, there is stuff for girls in there, but some of it is set up for a little bit for the guys and the girls who enjoy playing games and doing fun things. So I may toss out a sneak peek. This is the release Dale really wanted to do, so I let him cover part of the stamp set, and then I will give you a sneak peek here in just a little bit. We're going to give a few other people the opportunity to get online before we actually show it so they don't miss it. But that's kind of my plan. And I'm not sure if I'm still seeing comments or not. They kind of stopped. So if you are watching and you could just pop even just a heart or a star or symbol or face or an emoji or something on there so I can make sure the comments are still working, I would greatly appreciate that, because I sure do hate talking to myself and missing your comments. I don't mind doing a video where I'm just talking and nobody's there, but I like to know if you guys are talking to me and thinking I'm not commenting on what you're saying. So just want to make sure that I can see the comments. So I'm just kind of, this little guy was drawn with a lot of accentuation on his face. So I'm trying to keep some of that in. So I'm adding a bit more shadowing like around his mouth and around his nose and such. Hey, all right, look, people are popping on. Hey, Mom. E51 is pretty light. I usually go E21, but again, I really wanted to keep him fairly light skinned, so I kind of went with that. If you like or want help with darker skin tones, those will be coming up very soon. Probably either next week or the week after. So stay tuned on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 8 Central for more about that. Okay, I don't know why it's kind of freaking out with the zooming in thing. Maybe I'm at a bad spot and it can't seem to focus. There we go. Hopefully that will be better. E00 is going to be the last color, and I'm going to finish off the rest of his face with this color. That E51 is really, really light, but it also doesn't have a lot of the peachy color that we have in our skin tone. So I wanted to make sure I finished it off with E00 just to make sure that that works out. Okay. Look at us go. All right. So again, for those of you who are popping in, I'm using this little guy that I have on my desk to figure out what colors to make my little guy, and this is a yellow but kind of an orange, so it's kind of yellow orange, if you will. So I'm gonna test out on the paper just to make sure because you know I like to do my lighter colors first. I think this is a pretty good representation of that color. It's Y38. This one is Y17. It's close, but slightly lighter. And then I think I'm going to go with Y15, even though it's a bit more yellowy than his stuff. I think it'll make a good medley of yellow. And I don't think I want to go any lighter than that. So that is kind of my plan for that. So his belt, which would be, I mean, it should be this part right here. And then I think this is just a break between his chest and his waist. So we'll probably just make that all red. So I think the eye from the Incredible is yellow. So we are going to work on that next. So I'm just going to put some of the shadow color inside the eye for the Incredible. And a little bit here. So again, I like to do my stamp sets, but I also like to do other people's stamp sets just to give some love to the other stamps I have in my plethora of crafty supplies. But this one works with the Craft Roulette challenge this week, so I thought it was perfect. It was so funny because when we were talking about the Craft Roulette parameters, my husband said, well, do you have any Incredible stamps? And I was like, I do. It's perfect. He was like, yep, that's what I do. So that is what I am doing. Okay, Y15 is my last yellow color. I really like this yellow combination color. I think he probably doesn't have as bright a yellow in there, but I kind of like it. It just sort of brings it out, and that's the cool part about you being the person coloring the image is you can change it to whatever you want. You can make it whatever you want, which is awesome, and that makes it a lot of fun. So that is all of the yellow, even though I really thought there was more. So let's do his hair color. And it's blonde, but it has a little bit of brown in it. So I'm going to use let's see. Let's try it. I think I'm going to use the E50s, like E57. This will be the shadow color for the hair. And then E55 kind of brings it much brighter. And then E53 is even way lighter than that, which that kind of makes it look skin tone and not really hair-ish color. So I think I want to add a yellow color to it. This one is called Buttercup, so I feel like it's, if I go over all of it, it'll give me that yellow-ish tint to this color combination. So I'm going to use E57, E55, E53, and Y21 for his hair and eyebrows. That is my plan. E57. So I don't want a lot of the E57 because I don't want his hair to look brown. So just in the shadow areas, like over his ear, I might do a couple of brush strokes just to make sure I have a little bit of that color in there. A little bit around his forehead where this hair is hanging over on the side. And then maybe just a few little brush strokes up the top of his hair. And I think I'll do a couple over here. They'll get washed out a little bit when we add the other colors in there, but we need a little bit just in case. I'm going to do under his eyebrows just a little bit. Just a teeny bit. Just a teeny bit. You guys, it is so great that I have all these markers. I've been having so much fun playing with all the different markers that I have. Like today I colored something with Copics and with Olos at the same time. Like I mixed them together, and oh, I really liked how it came out, but it was really fun to be able to mix the colors. It gives me so many more colors because I'm really surprised at how different the shades of colors that you get in each set of markers are. There are some that cross over and they're the same in both sets, but there are quite a few that one marker brand has it and the other one doesn't. So it's pretty cool to have more colors. I mean, when you have 358 Copics, you certainly don't think that there's any colors you're missing, but there kind of still are. You can mix colors to get those combinations, but if you don't have to, hey, that makes it even better. Okay, so Y21, this is where we're going to change that color from brownish to a little bit more yellow by adding this Y21 over the whole thing. And I think that will give it enough of the yellow to make it look like blonde hair versus brown hair. It's not a lot, it's just enough. So there we go. Now we see how much that changed to make that hair look more blonde-ish color than brown. I really like that. Okay, so I'm happy with that. So now we need to do his tongue. And I don't want to use RV95 because it's too dark and we already used it on the inside of his mouth. So I'm going to use R12 just to get that tongue colored in. And then his teeth, I think I'm just going to leave them alone, just the way that they are, because they're pretty white. I mean, I could put C1 in there if I wanted to, but I think they're going to be bright enough. Although I see a small smidge of skin tone that I got in his teeth, so I'm going to push that back out to keep the teeth white. All right. So next, I think what I'm going to do is just make his eyes brown, and then I will draw in the black spot on for his eye once I have the eyes colored in. So I'm just doing the outside of the eyes with the same thing I did the hair, the E57. And then I'm going to use E55 just to finish that off. It's going to look a little bit funny now because the black pupil is not in his eye. I have to draw that with my multi-liner, but it'll be okay. It'll be great. All right, so I'm going to do red next because I don't want to drag any red into my other colors. So I want it to be more of a bright red. So I'm going to use this combination for now, which is R89, R37, and R46. If we need to add R24, we will, but for now, I'm going to stick with these three. Okay, so this part's going to be black, and this around his neck is going to be black, and his boots are going to be black, and his gloves are going to be black. So we're going to do everything else. So his little pants, they're going to be red. So we're going to start getting some of this shadow red color in here. It's going to look real funny to start with. He's looking good, looking sharp. Okay, so who wants to see the sneak peek of the upcoming release? Okay, I'm going to do under his arms a bit to get that like dark color in there. And then just along here where it meets up with his gloves. And then I'm going to do the other side like this underneath because he has these great big old muscular arms. You know, his outfit used to be blue in the beginning, you know? When the very first Incredibles movie, his outfit was blue. So you could color him blue. You could color his outfit blue if you wanted to, and it would still match up with the Mr. Incredible. I'm going to do just along the underside because this is a great big old chest he has going on here. And the inside of the eye, that's black, so we're not going to do that yet. You like it? It's going good. Nobody wants to see a sneak peek, huh? Maybe we'll have to wait till Thursday. All right. This is R37. It's a little bit more, to me, it stands a little bit more on the cherry side of things. So it's kind of that pinkish red. But my R46 will bring it back to the red, fire engine red that I want it to be. So don't stress too much that this is kind of a pinky red, because it won't be when we get done. Either I'm not seeing comments or you guys are so quiet tonight. I'm not sure which. Has it been a rough week for you guys so far? By the way, Cheryl, how are you feeling? Hopefully you're feeling better. I am very much hoping you feel better. I went to the dentist today. Every single time I go, even when it's a cleaning, my mouth always hurts afterwards. My teeth hurt for like a day or so. Nothing's worse than tooth pain. Sneak peek, sneak peek. Okay, since you said it and you're watching, I'm going to show you as soon as I finish with this layer of red. So don't turn away from the camera or you might miss it. Give me just a minute before I move into the next red. And because we haven't put a whole lot of this in our guy, we may have to add one more red color when we get done. We may have to add one red to our color, and that'll be okay. I'm just going to outline the eye, and then I'm going to show the sneak peek. And you guys can all thank Dale for this sneak peek because he chose what we show and what we don't show. All right, so here's the good news. The stamps are in house, and here it comes. You ready? There's 3 stamp sets. This is just one of them. Here we go. Uh-oh. Adventure awaits for some amazing stuff. So what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? Tell me. Maybe I'll have them cover up another stamp set. Once I'm working on all the cards and stuff, I'll start sending sneak peeks with a little bit more sneak peek on there for you. As soon as I have the cards ready. That's one of my favorite sets, so I'm really excited about it. I don't know how you pick a favorite. I just love them all. But there's something on that stamp set that is a close to my heart love for images like that. So I can't wait. Haha, look at you, Beth. You go, girl. That's exactly what I would say. I bet it has something to do with that, because doesn't that look like a kind of like a dungeon door? It does, kind of, doesn't it? I mean, you know how many things you can use that door for? It's awesome, and it's a great size. I'm so excited about it. I can barely stand it. There we go. It's slow going. Oh, it's slow going. You're standing now, which is a great help for start walking soon. Oh, yes. Yay. I'm so glad to hear that, Cheryl. And yes, Beth, it's going to be awesome. I am so excited. I think I'm going to use R24 because but R24 has a little bit more on the orangey red side, so I tend to like to use the other colors instead, but I think if we go to 35, it's going to be more pink, like R35, so I don't really want to do that, but I think this color is pretty good. You think? Look at how well it blends together. I was just going to say that it could be used in so many scenes for cards. It can, and it's not a full background, you know, like it's not a background stamp, but it will help you build a background, and I think it'll be awesome. And of course, I will teach you how to color it. No problem. It's actually easier than it looks. And can you just imagine? Try to imagine what else might be in the other stamp sets, because that's just one. And this time we have 3 because we couldn't fit everything in 2 that Dale wanted to be out there. So we agreed to do 3 this time, but we'll be going back to 2 after this. This is just a one-time 3 stamp set release. So, and then, you know, as we build up, we may go to 3 later on, but you know, we gotta get more people in our group. We gotta get more people coloring the images and letting everybody see them and all the good stuff, so we can make more. Yay! Because making more is so fun. I think you'll be surprised. Okay. So now I think I'm going to go with a cool gray. Cool grays, because I want it to look really, really black. And I think we get a better black color with the cool grays without... Cool grays have like a little bit of blue in them. And so to me, I think that'll go really well with the red. But I'm also going to pull out the 100 because it is the cool black. You love that red combo for a suit? Yeah, it came out really good. I like it a lot. It's perfect. Might need one more coat over it as it dries, just to get the blending a little bit better. So we'll probably go over it one more time with that 24, but C10, 8, 7, and 6. Those are the ones we're going to do for the black. If we get lighter than 6, it starts washing out the color, and I really want it to remain black, so I'm not going to use that. Anything lighter than that. And now that I've talked a lot, I can probably go over it one more time, this R24, just to deepen up this area right here. Because if you know, with Copics, or any alcohol marker for that matter, if you let it dry and you go over it again, it becomes one shade darker. So that's really important to learn, especially if you're doing larger images and pictures, because if you try to color something that's 8.5 by 11 type size and they have a large face on them, if you're coloring in one spot and the ink is drying over there, when you go back over, it's going to be a shade darker than what you're doing now. So you have to be really careful. You have to do it in sections, and it's a little more challenging to do bigger. People think smaller is harder, but it's not. Larger is more difficult. So I'm going to start with my C10. And I'll go into the 100 to deepen things up if I need it. So I'm just going to put like some shadow areas inside his hand here. Kind of build that out a little bit. And I want to put it right up against this red, because it's so dark. And we're going to do the same thing on this side. just kind of keeping them similar to each other, you know, so they look the same. So I'm just referring back to the other one just to make sure I do them pretty much the same. They don't have to be exactly the same, but to keep the image looking, you know, cohesive, it helps to do them the same. So around his neck is also black. I think that was a really good idea for whoever did that with Disney. Whoever did the movie like that, because it really makes his face stand out with that little bit of black around his neck. And these little bitty trunks and that great big chest, I'm telling you. These little bitty trunks. Although he has a whole unitard on, so I'm not really sure what the trunk's purpose is. But that is the way he is. So when we get done, I'll show you my little alien dressed up like Incredibles again, and you can tell me what you think, how well we did with the colors. Usually the first time I color these, I like to have some kind of picture reference if I'm trying to actually reference something in particular. If I'm just coloring it however I want, then I don't really do that. I'm going to wait on the eyes because I think I'm going to use a multi-liner for that. Ooh, I missed a comment. Let me go back. Your images can be used in all sorts of ways. You give us more bang for the buck. I sure do try. I'm glad that you noticed that because I really try to do that. That is a big time goal for me. C8. This one is still pretty dark. So I'm just going to start filling in some of these areas so we get a little bit more darkness going on here. A little bit up from here. And I'm going to try to do that very same thing on the other side. Let's see, which way do I want to turn him? A little bit up here. We want it to come up this way. We want to go around his little thumb. And a little bit from the side of his hand. And then I think we did a little bit here. And then we went down here and came up. Just like that. And now he just looks super funny. With black hands. And a white skin and a black hand. He looks funny. Alright, I want to keep this part in here pretty black, so I'm going to do most of it with these two colors, and I'll just use the next color a little bit. And I'll probably do the same thing for this. I think I'm just going to color in his trunks completely now, because his chest is so big it's covering everything up, so we for sure want to get that going. Just going to do a little bit on his feet. Still want to use the other markers on his shoes. Oh, he's starting to come out nice. I wasn't sure what, I couldn't imagine. I'm a hands-on person, so I don't do well with trying to imagine in my head what something's going to look like when I'm done. So I just kind of have to go for it and see what happens. I mean, I'm very hands-on. Like, in all of my jobs and stuff, I have to actually just try it before I know. Like, I can't just visualize it in my head. And some people learn like that, where they can visualize everything like Dale. But that doesn't work for me. I am not a visual person. I'm a hands-on person. I gotta do it to know. That finishes that collar. Finish this inside part of the Incredible tag, which I really like. And then I'm going to just put a little bit more in here and leave the top of his boots for that little bit of shine on them. And the tops of his gloves are the same way. So look, we got him colored pretty quick. It didn't really take all that long. I could have done 2 images. C6 is the last color, and this is the one we're going to just start blending it all together. And you could use back and forth, or you could use circular motions. It's up to you. I'm kind of trying to push the ink around a little bit, so I'm okay with doing it in the circular motions. See, that was really helpful. Still dark colored, but also very smooth. So let's do this side. Little fingers, lots of little fingers. And then we'll blend this together. And if we go any lighter than this, like I said, it will really start washing out. I've noticed that between C6 and C5, there's a big difference in how much it pushes the ink around because there's more colorless blender in C5. Look at how cute he is. All right, so now we're going to grab our multi-liner. I'm going to actually use 2 multi-liners tonight because I have this teeny tiny tip that's a 0.25 that I want to do the pupil in his eye with. Just like that. And then I want to use one a little bit bigger to do his mask. So I could have done it with the marker, but I felt like it would be a little bit easier to do it with a multi-liner than with the marker. So I decided to use the multi-liner instead. That way I know for sure I'm not going to get any black in his eyes. So I'm just going to do it really carefully so I don't mess any of that up. And there we go. So cute. He needs to have a little bit of white in his eyes, which is a little scary because the tip on this white gel pen is pretty big. But if you're careful and you just get it going and just barely touch, you can make the teeniest, tiniest little dots for eyes. See? Perfect. So you have to practice that, I think. Here we go. Here he is, up close and personal. Isn't he adorable? Isn't he incredible? That's what I should have said. Isn't he incredible? He is Mr. Incredible. Okay, so let's go over the pieces. Even though I went over this a little bit at the beginning, he's very handsome. Thank you. How did we do? Did we do good? Look at that. We did good. I have the little Incredible symbol. This is a solid. There is an open one that we could color if we wanted to. And then a solid mask. And then the sentiment I have is, Dad, you're incredible. And then I have all these papers, these scrap papers. So our Craft Roulette was, let's fold this over because I didn't use ice cream, but that was one idea I had. So my project's a joyfold, which we're going to build now. My colors are cartoon, so this is very cartoon colors. The element starts with an I, so this is my little element. This is Mr. Incredible, so he starts with an I. And then random is include, scrap, or scraps. And I talked about in the beginning of the show that I grabbed all of my scraps out of my scrap bin, or at least some of them. And I had some Comic Universe papers in my scrap bin that we're going to somehow incorporate on this card. And then our Joy Fold, I picked several of the Incredibles colors so we could kind of all stay the same. So black for the card base, I was thinking. And this is just a regular A2 size card. Let me zoom out just a little bit more.
Show in the corner, that is the sneak peek.
Okay, Dale says you get this sneak peek of the stencil. Are you ready? Huh? How was that?
That's fine.
Okay. Wasn't that nice? See? Aren't you glad you came to the live tonight? Because Dale's sneak peeking it up for you guys. Where is my bone folder? I'll have to grab another one. Do you know how many bone folders I have on my desk? Probably 6. And my favorite one, I left in the hotel room.
Was the color cartoon?
Yeah.
Beth says she's struggling with the cartoon element. It's any bold color.
So cartoon can be any color you've seen in a cartoon. So like SpongeBob is yellow and pink and blue, and you could almost pick any color. Then you have Looney Tunes, and you have the Jetsons, and you have all of the Disney movies. So you could do anything you wanted with cartoon because it's just colors. All it has to do is have those colors. And then the element starts with I. So you could do ice cream or an igloo or Mr. Incredible. And then when is this going live? Dale, are we doing Friday or Saturday? Friday? It's this week. It's the end of this week. The project is Joyful Card. I know you know how to do that. So it's not too hard. Don't struggle or get yourself stuck too hard on cartoon because that's just the color.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a cartoon character. I just happen to use one.
Friday we'll do the sneak peek preview, and then after the preview, it'll go live, and then we start the official announcements Saturday morning.
Yep. So if you're watching the live on Friday night, oh, I found the bone folder. Then you'll get it faster. But we'll be starting the posting about the release on Saturday morning. But we usually try to make it live for you guys after the sneak peek presentation on Friday night. So Friday, Saturday, this weekend's the release weekend. And we have some cool new stuff. I'm so excited. It's been a little slow through December and January, November, December, and January. So we did limited stuff, but we're kicking it up a notch. Ooh, I almost put this on the inside of the card, but you know what? We need to put this down first, I think. So I'm going to go ahead and put glue on this so I can add it to the card while I have glue on the inside. I like to hide my pieces when I can. So I'm just going to eyeball this about halfway down the card. It could be anywhere on the card, so don't stress about that. Just anywhere. It could be at the top or the bottom or anywhere you want. I usually like stick it down and then put the card down like this so I can press it and make sure that this stays lined up exactly how I want it. Then I'm going to use this amazing tool. If you don't have one, you should. This.
Release any?
Yeah, I showed your sneak peek. They're already guessing what they think it is. And they're good guessers this time. And now I'm going to put the white card in there. That way the yellow one is hidden. I kind of like that. There we go. All right, so now we have our Joyfold card created. Now it's time to decorate. And normally I try to decorate like before I attach it all together. But I don't think I'm going to be doing anything that's not just attaching flat on there. So there's the card. Now I also chose this one, which I thought would look really good right here. And then this was a scrap piece of paper that I had, which I contemplated using it and then putting the incredible symbols or the masks, because I feel like it'll be too plain if I don't have this on there and I just do the incredible symbols and the mask. So I feel like it needs to have this, but I feel like this might be too big. Like maybe I want to make it a bit smaller. So I'm going to cut it down to about 1.5 instead of 2 inches. And then we'll decide which one.
Well, Beth, I can't tell you what it is yet, but I could say that the whole set is designed around scene building.
Yep, it is.
So the elements of the stamp sets, the stencils that go along with it, all incorporate together to build scenes and build your own fun card creations with it.
Yep. So I think normally people would put this out here, but I think I'm going to put it over here and kind of line it up with the edge of this other card. And then I'm going to stamp over here on this side with the masks and the Incredibles. And I'm going to do it in black, sticking with the same. You love my mom's card from last week. She did a good job. I sort of threw her under the bus. I was like, hey, are you making your card? And she was like, I have to make a card? I'm like, yeah. So she jumped right in and she did it. So I was very happy that she decided to join us. Me and Christina Rudder. Christina was at the event with us. So she made hers in the room and I made mine in the room, and we had limited supply, but we had to follow the parameters. But I think we did okay. It was pretty fun.
Beth, you'll never know what's going to come out from my designs, because it could be games, anime, robots, comic books.
You should see some of this stuff he's wanted to do so far. So his brain works like no one else's I've ever known. All right, I'm going to put a few that are going to go under the paper, but I kind of want them there just in case they stick out a little bit. Now I'm going to switch over to the mask, and here was my dilemma. Does the mask go this way?
No, that way.
This way?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it comes down on the cheeks.
Okay. Because I got a little confused on the mask. Okay, so maybe I'll put one here. Maybe I'll put it a little bit close to the edge. And maybe I'll put this one going like this way. And we got some masks and some Incredibles. Let's move this one this way too. And I think this will be just enough to decorate it up. I love it. Let's go this way on this one. I love these little blocks. I got this from Sassy Club. I love it so much because I always get it right, because you have so much control with your hand, where those square ones, I just mess them up every time. It's so frustrating. Okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to put this piece of paper underneath here so I can stamp off the page with this one, because I feel like I need a little bit of something right up here. And then I think that's good. Maybe we might need a half a one, like right here. Just a small piece. I think if you stamp off the edge of the page, it sometimes makes it look less stamped and more less designed and more impromptu, and I just like that. Okay, here we go. So this one is going to go on here. So I'm just going to open the whole card up so I can lay it flat. Most of the time I like doing Craft Roulette when I'm watching Craft Roulette, because otherwise I want to make sure I get this on the card right. Otherwise I forget or run out of time and then I don't do it. So I normally like to do it at the time of the show, but I was not home. So I had to watch it later, watch the replay. And that's when I decided I would just do it with you guys. Because how fun is that? Look at that. How cute is that? All right, so now we got to put this little guy on there. Look at this paper. This paper's from Scrappy Boy. It's gaming on one side. Clearly, we love gaming here at our house. And at my daughter's house. And at my son's house. I told my daughter I don't hear from her that much. She said, oh, you should get on Discord and talk to me and Kyle, because we're talking all the time on Discord. I'm like, I don't video game like you guys do.
They do all this gaming. I game and they never invite me.
I know. She said you have the Discord. Okay. So I'm scooting that over just a little bit more because I feel like it needs to line up. Like it needs to be straight. Needs to be straight right there. If I have to cut this piece of paper, I will. But it can't be not straight. That will drive me crazy. Okay. It's straight enough. I could probably take a sliver off just to make it a little bit more smooth. I mean, that's what happens when you're using scraps. Sometimes they weren't cut like evenly. So I'm just going to make that straight. That's what happens when you use scraps. Okay. So now we have this so far. My thought was to put this guy on here. I mean, how cute is that? Grab my magnet. Okay. So I have more scraps. I think I'm going to pass on that. But I also have these scraps. And I thought maybe one of them would look good on the front with Mr. Incredible. Kind of like a scene for him. Maybe like that. What do you think? Does that look okay, hun?
What about the bubble burst?
This one? You like that one better? Let me turn it around. This is what happens when you're using scraps. You just got to do whatever you got to do. Wait, maybe I want it to go this way. It's going to have to be blue on the top. I kind of like it like that. Let's do that. It's almost like the pow, like he just punched in that whole side. So we're going to put that. Dale's dropping stuff all over the floor, you guys. Oh, I think I wanted the, yeah. Maybe
the release just has me excited.
I know. He's so excited. It arrived today, and he couldn't even wait for me to open the box. He was all digging into it, getting all excited. Cleaning and purging your craft room for the past 3 days. Oh, I can't wait to see what you have. Here we go. Look at how cute this is. All right, so let's put Mr. Incredible on there. Then we have to figure out where we're going to put our sentiment. And we could have made this a shaker card. You know, you can use your, these type of little stamps, stamp a whole bunch of them and cut them out with Scan and Cut or whatever, and make them into your shaker bits. It's pretty cool. You should try it if you haven't tried it. It's pretty cool. All right. So now we have him on there. So now we need to do our sentiment, or we could do it on the inside. Maybe we'll just leave the outside plain and then put the image on the inside. I was thinking maybe I would put some of these on the inside.
This says I have your paper in hiding. My friend was eyeballing it.
Your friend was eyeballing it. Well, I know where she can get it. Like, maybe just put these. What will it look like from the front is what we need to know. Maybe I'll just put them like this. Several of them all over the place. Let's put that one there. We'll put this one here. We could put the sentiment right there. Let's see what it would look like from the outside of the card. Okay, so this one would need to scoot over a little bit more, because it looks better with it not showing. One at the bottom is okay. Let's just put this one on there. I think this one looks good. I like this one at the top. Like this. And if I put it right towards the edge, then it won't show on the front, which I like. I like the surprise aspect. And then I think I'll put the message inside here, so it'll be covered up. Here we go. I don't know, this is, probably should have stamped it first. But what happens if it doesn't work? We just put a paper over it and stamp it on top of the paper. So always an option. Ta-da! But it worked. It usually does. I love it. I wonder if I should put the little incredible symbol like right here or somewhere on here.
I was thinking on one of the white areas, like at the bottom.
Like at the bottom?
Yeah.
Like this little eye?
Yep.
Should I put the mask at top?
No.
Nope, just the incredible. Dale says we should add this one to the corner. Right here. Haha. Oh yeah, I like that. I'm glad we added that. That was perfect. So I don't think I'm going to add any bling, but I'm gonna look anyway, because you never know. Something might strike my fancy. But I don't really like putting bling on boy cards. Not that you can't, but I don't know why. Nope, nothing strikes my fancy. So I think we're going to stick with him like this. But I think I'm going to do a punch on the edge of that card. I have a couple of different interesting punches over here. Give me 1 second to dig it out of my drawer. That's a rounded one. I don't want a rounded one. Okay, this is a really old Creative Memories. So old that the back fell off. But I like the shape of this, so I'm going to...
my card.
You did?
Yeah, because I like the shape.
I like the shape too. There we go. And that'll just add a little bit more fashion to my little card here. I wish I had my other bone folder because it works so good. Not that this one doesn't. It still works good, but... So there we go. This is our incredible card. So we have the front, and I love these stamps. That worked out really great. And then we open it up. And maybe I wouldn't have used a zigzaggy pattern because I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of, what do you call that, chevron? I'm just not, as me. I'm not a big fan of chevron. So I don't usually use it. So that was in my scraps, but I needed a scrap. So it is what it is. And then it says, Dad, you're incredible. Put bling on my D&D Friends card. Bling is beautimous. Yes, it is. Bling is great. And maybe I'll add bling later. Sometimes I tend to do that. But this is a joy fold. Opens from both sides. Just in case you wanted to know. And you can make this one bigger or smaller, however you want. I mean, there's a lot of different ways to do that. So anyway, this is our little incredible guy. He looks really good. He came out super good. I'm happy with the colors. I think we did really good in matching them up. Pretty close. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope that you will join me again on Thursday and definitely on Friday for the new release video where I will show you everything. And thank you for joining me tonight. And I hope if you like this, you can get it from the Sassy Club. I'll put the link under this video on the page and also on YouTube. So you can watch the replay on YouTube. And if you're watching on YouTube right now, please like and subscribe because we want to grow that channel. Thank you for joining me tonight. It was super fun. Let's do it again Thursday, 8 p.m. Central. Good night. Have a great evening.